If you don't know Lois Creamer, you are certainly in for a treat. And I'll start off with a question. Do you wish you could wave a magic wand and make your marketing and selling easier? Do you want to always approach prospects in a powerful and compelling way? Well, Lois today has written the book on speaking. It's called Book More Business, Make Money Speaking. I introduced this in my first timer room. Whenever first timer rooms come to a normal program of Speakers Speak Live, so we have the genuine article here today with us. The second edition of this book More Business, Make More Money Speaking, will be out later this fall. So her original book has been adopted by several NSA chapters as part of the curriculum for Speakers Academy. She is also the co-author of the Speaker Author, Sell More Books, and Book More Speeches. She's worked in the speaking industry for 25 years. She has presented at national NSA meetings and chapters, as well as members of the Global Speakers Federation in the United Kingdom, Scotland, Australia, and India. In 2021, she was awarded Honorary Fellow for the Professional Speakers Association, England and Ireland. She is an avid reader, has a yellow lab for an intern, and although she has traveled extensively over the years, her only layover today was in her kitchen, helping us learn how to book more business, spotting gold, separating winning opportunities from dead ends. Welcome, Lois Creamer. Great to have you with us.
Marty, how much fun is it for you and I to be together? For anyone who may not be aware, we came together on Clubhouse during the pandemic, and we were there every week, every Monday night.
Every Monday.
And we were joined by RJ Jackson, and we had a great weekly program. And Marty, I cannot resist starting out today by talking about how the thing that you said to close us every show, you said, and I concur, there's never been a better time to be a professional speaker. And even more true today, let me say, than it was then. And I'll tell you that although the pandemic was a great time of loss, Marty and I tried to make lemonade out of lemons, and I think we did to a certain extent. But what it did afford us were some additional ways to get our intellectual property in the market, like we're doing today on Zoom. Who wishes they had bought stock in Zoom a couple of weeks before the pandemic? Which is my investment strategy is always wait until it peaks and then buy in. One of the superpowers that we all need to have as speakers is the power of discernment. How do we discern a good opportunity from a not so good opportunity? And the world is filled with both of those things. And I am a proponent of waiving your fee when it's a good strategic decision. And a lot of people call this, I'm going to speak for free. As Marty knows, that always just sticks in my throat, that word free. I prefer you to say, I'm willing to waive my fee in lieu of some value. And typically that's going to be non-monetary value. But I want to tell you that as you're getting started, if you're changing a market, if you're adding a market to your business, I think that it's essential to work on the most important thing you can gather at the beginning. And that's the economic capital of what Mike was just talking about, testimonials. Testimonials are the social proof that you can do what you say you can do. And I'll tell you, when I used to speak on sales, I don't do that anymore. I only speak to groups of professional speakers now. But when I spoke on sales, I'm in St. Louis, and I spoke to every chamber of commerce within 200 miles of where I'm sitting right now. I wasn't paid at all. They gave me 20 to 30 minutes. What I asked for were testimonials. I said, if you're happy, and I think you will be, I'd love a testimonial. Then I quickly plastered my website with testimonials. And guess what happened? I started asking for money for my programs. And no one looked at a testimonial and said, you know, that's a great testimonial. Did you speak for free there? No one asks you that. So this is something that I want to I want to reinforce, because oftentimes I hear professional speakers say this phrase: exposure can kill you. Speaking for free is exposure, and it can kill you. It can also propel your success. When I spoke on sales, there were certain situations where I was willing to waive my fee. I have to say, if it was out of town, people had to pay me expenses. But I spoke on some association platforms and made more money by leveraging who I met at that meeting than any short-term one-time fee I might have insisted on for being there. And I think this is what I want you to know. It's a strategic decision. So I wasn't going to speak and waive my fee because I wanted to travel. It was a strategic business decision. And the reason they turned out to be good strategic decisions is because I did my homework up front. Who is going to be in the audience? I also asked this question: is anyone else who's presenting being paid? I think that was good for me to know. I might not like hearing what I hear, but I think it's good for me to know. I also will tell you that as we talk about this, I'm a big believer in target marketing. And Marty, you and I talked about this all the time on Clubhouse, because, you know, I always give the example of whenever I'm presenting to a group, someone will inevitably come up to me and say, I've got a great program on service. I'm excited to give it. And I'll say, where do you think it can make a difference? And they'll say, anyone who wants a real culture of service will love it. And my reply is always, well, let's go call everybody and see if they're interested. And I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm very frank, as Marty will tell you. But that is not a marketing plan. And I'll tell you that I sat where I'm sitting today when I started speaking on sales, kind of overwhelmed at the possibility, who do I even talk to? Because I speak on sales, everybody needs sales. Realizing that everybody wasn't a good plan, I guess I could start with the A's, Google the A's, businesses that begin with A, but I didn't think that was a good, productive use of my time. When I spoke to some of the chambers and the philanthropic groups around town, like I always say the moose and the elk, the animal circuit, you know, the people, the business people who do the philanthropic lunch things, and they would invite me and I'd speak there and get testimonials. I always found it to be interesting who wanted to talk to me afterwards and what they had to say afterwards. I got a job from doing a chamber event, which I never anticipated, quite frankly. And it was from a bank. It was from a bank here in St. Louis to work with their personal finance representatives. And I went in and I did a sales program for them, selling services, which turned out to be my specialty. And then an interesting thing happened. The gentleman who hired me said, we've got 8 other branches in Missouri and 16 in Illinois. The fact that he was interested let me know my information resonates in this market. I got another opportunity at a credit union, a referral from another speaker. It resonated with a credit union. And I will share that I came into this business with a corporate background in marketing and sales. I worked for a Fortune 10 company right out of college. I had great opportunities there. I knew I didn't want to work in manufacturing, which was the corporation that I worked for. So I thought, you know, isn't it interesting that financial services finds my information so applicable to exactly what they do? So I started thinking, perhaps this would be a good target market. So I looked for banks, credit unions, mortgage houses, insurance companies, and associations connected with banks, credit unions, mortgage houses, and insurance companies. And suddenly I had a niche. And then something very interesting. I had created motivation for other banks, credit unions, and mortgage houses to be interested in me. And they started looking at my testimonials and looked at me as an industry insider. So this is why target marketing. I want to talk a little bit about money. You can waive your fee if it's a strategic decision. You can also negotiate if it's a good strategic decision. And I will tell you, the only people, and I really want you to hear this, the only people who are negotiating now in our industry are mere mortals. Raise your hand if you're a mere mortal. I'm raising mine. I'm looking at you folks. This is the reality of working in this industry today. Everything's a negotiation. If Marty's a decision maker and I say, Marty, my fee is $10 million. By the way, that isn't my real fee. If I say, Marty, my fee is $10 million, and he says, great, that's a perfect fit. That's the only way this is a negotiation. If he says anything besides yes, I'm in a negotiation. And the professional way to be in a negotiation is to answer objections with what you want. So if Marty said, we only have $7 million, I have a decision to make, don't I? Is this a number that's doable? If he would have said, we've got a $25 Amazon gift certificate, then I have a decision to make. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with Amazon gift certificates. But if that is not okay with me, then I might want to say to Marty, Marty, I couldn't work for that fee. It's so far from what my other clients pay me in my marketplace. But I'd love to serve you by possibly giving you a referral. Realize that the referral I'll give you will be someone that I know. They will probably have less experience than I do. So I'm giving him the real info. But let's say he says 7, and I say that, and I could live with that. Here's a sentence that I want you to commend to your memory. If I could do that. So I'm telling Marty, I'm not saying that I'm going to do it, right? If I could do that, what else of value might you be able to offer me to make this congruent with what my other clients pay me, to make it commensurate with what my other clients pay me in my marketplace? And then I'm going to do something really important. I'm going to shut up. By the way, I just realized I rarely say shut up. It was never allowed in my home growing up. And I just said it in this big group. Apologies. I'm going to be quiet because I want to hear what they might have to say in response to that. Now, you're either going to, one of the typical replies is, what would you like? So be prepared for this. I've got a chapter in Make Money Speaking on this, what do you consider value? And there are all sorts of things that can be value. Video can be valuable. Maybe they can give me a copy of the video. I can use it to promote. I can use it on social media. I can use it in any number of ways to showcase my services. Maybe I can get an attendee list. This is especially important when you are in a negotiation with an association. Especially important when you are in a negotiation with an association, because everybody looking at you in that audience in an association meeting goes back to their individual business, who may be a great fit for the speech that you're currently giving. So an attendee list. Introductions. I am looking for something very important every time I speak. You know what I'm looking for? Advocates. I am looking for people who might advocate for me. And by the way, every time I speak for a corporation or a private business, I'm asking this important question. What associations do you belong to? Because if my speech, this program was a good fit for your business, it may be a great fit for your association. This is my favorite way and my client's favorite way to get in a highly competitive association market, by having an advocate walk your name in, saying, I heard her speak. And by the way, I did this for an insurance company I worked for when I did sales. This woman said, I don't know anybody on the committee who makes decisions, but I will find out. She found out, sent an email to us both. I made the cut of 3. And I think it was because of the personal introduction. I had a conversation with the committee, and this is what I said to them. I'm here with you today being considered because my message really resonated with 3 of your state level associations. And so I thought it would make sense to present this to every state association at your national meeting. I got the job. And I think that's why I got the job. But it was someone taking the time to walk my name into the program committee, and my really looking for advocates who would go out of their way, quite frankly, to do something for me. So be prepared if you're in a negotiation. Create a positive way to do things. For example, if this was somebody I really wanted to work for, I would say this: I really want to find a way to work with you on this. I would love to find a way to make this happen. But I'm going to always have a list in front of me of things that I consider value, non-monetary, that I am going to ask them to share with me. One of the things that I often say, Lord, I think I say it every time I do a presentation, and you'll see it in my book several times. You risk a yes every time you ask for something. Are you willing to take the risk? So I'm going to pile it on. They can tell me no, and I'm fine with that because I've got more things on my list that I can ask for. But I think the whole key to making a great negotiation work is to have a list of things you are prepared for this conversation. It puts you, it puts your most professional foot forward, folks. And it lets people know that, look, even if I'm accepting a lower fee than my stated fee, I am going to ask for value commensurate with the value of my intellectual property. This is the value of my intellectual property in the marketplace. And, you know, one of the things that Marty and I talked about a lot on Clubhouse is this: we're really not just speakers. We're in the intellectual property business. That's the business you're in. And it's the number of ways you can take that intellectual property and serve your clients. Those are the people who do really well in this industry. So speaking is just one of the vehicles I use to disseminate my information to my marketplace. I also write. I also consult. I coach. I have a mastermind group. I have a membership group. There are all kinds of things I do to make money. So I'm going to be thinking about these things. I'm going to be thinking about these things when I enter a negotiation. So I want you to be crystal clear. If anyone asks you to give anything, I want you to ask for something every time. It's the professional way. It's the professional way. It's the professional way. And, you know, I just talked about this same subject with an NSA chapter last week. And I think that it's really important that you let people know that this is what others have done in your situation. These are some of the things that others have done that I have found valuable when I've been in a negotiation for fees. You know, I want everybody to feel comfortable. I am looking to work with clients. I'm going to draw a line in the sand if the number is too small and it wouldn't be a good strategic business decision. I'm going to refer it. One of my joys in this business is giving referrals. But I'm also going to let people know what the reality of that referral is going to be. It's going to be someone who has less experience than I have. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm saying it because that's going to be the reality of it. But lots of times when we give referrals, it gives us an opportunity to give someone else a leg up in the business. to get that testimonial they need to make the next sale for them. So Marty, these are some of my thoughts on, is this a good strategic decision? I think there's so many things that go into it. And I think my main point is put some thought into this before you find yourself in it.
That's awesome. I have to just ask the obvious question because you're throwing so many perfectly stated one-liners of replies to give as you're talking to decision makers. And I remember we used to have full 2.5 hour clubhouse sessions just on this topic of what the heck to say to decision makers after you give your speaker positioning statement, you start talking about your topic, and then all of a sudden the negotiation happens, and these just flow out of you like you've said them 1,000 times. What kind of advice do you have to someone that just gets tongue-tied in the discussion?
Yeah, you said something interesting. I have said these things 1,000 times. I've been doing this for a long time. I used to be blonde, Marty. That's how long ago. That's how long I've been saying these things. You get good at doing it by doing it. That's the good news and the bad news, I guess, Marty. One of the ways that I tell my clients to do this is practice. Practice with a friend or colleague. If you have a mastermind group, do sessions on this. I have a membership group. I have put us in breakout rooms of 2 or 4 people to practice negotiating skills on what they're going to say. Because I do think that you get comfortable by having a conversation with someone and then being able to sense what their next thing is going to be. To be good at handling sales objections, you have to hear what they are and you have to know what they are. And I think we do that. And you should always make note of these things for yourself so you're prepared the next time. But I do think this is, unfortunately, this is one of those things that we get good at by doing it and being in the moment with a decision maker. But you can practice these with colleagues. And I think that it's a great idea. Do some role playing with a trusted colleague and hear what objections they have to say. And then decide what you think is your best answer to a sales objections.
Great. I'm going to invite Dana to pull out a question or two here from chat. And I just kind of want to also say, if you've just joined us recently, you are in a very special event. We are celebrating our 3rd year anniversary with Speaker Speak Live. And Lois was right on the forefront of why this group even started back in the day when we were co-moderating Clubhouse together. I just recognized we needed a place on Zoom to practice this and to showcase our presentations, and it's grown into this amazing community-driven event. So thank you so much, Lois, for being with us and for generating this whole thing.
Congratulations to you, Marty. You have taken the ball and run with it, and you have created that safe space for people to practice some of the things that we're talking about right now.
Yeah. Dana, what kind of questions do we have in there?
Well, 2 questions that are basically the same. Let's see, John Edward and both Lori Pace want to know, do you give a gift to advocates who lead you to another delivery? And what do you give them that's of value to them?
Well, that's a great question. And the answer is sometimes. I'm not going to answer this that's going to be really satisfactory, but I'll tell you, I did a sales program. We have a corporate headquarters here in St. Louis, Emerson Electric. And I got introduced in and did a program for Emerson Electric. And the reason I got in was because I had treated the vice president of sales assistant like the vice president of sales. Her name was Joan. I will never forget her. His name was Joe. I will never forget him. And I said, Joan, when you and Joe are looking to bring a speaker in to work with your people. So I brought her into the decision and I got it. I got an opportunity. I got a call back. She liked me. I got a call back. By the way, sometimes these assistants know more about the upcoming meetings than the VP of sales who is going to make the decision. Marty's nodding. It's really, really true. And after I got the program, and I sent her a handwritten thank you note. Okay, that's what I sent her. After the program, she called me the next day and she said, everyone loved your program. I said, that means so much to me. Thank you. And she said, are you aware there are 3 other divisions here in Emerson where your program may make sense? I had no idea. So she said, let me send an email to each one with a copy to you. Incredibly generous. And I ended up working for another division that all 3 of them didn't hire me. One other division did. I was thrilled with the business. I sent her flowers afterwards because I acknowledge I would not have gotten that were it not for her bringing this up to me. I'm not proud of that. I didn't think about that with Emerson being headquartered here in St. Louis, but I didn't. I had not thought about how can I leverage that. But I do think that you have to make a decision when rewarding people. What are you going to reward and how are you going to reward it? A lot of our colleagues give, for example, to meeting planners or decision makers gifts. My sense is doing a great job for them when they hire you, and a handwritten thank you note is gift enough. But a lot of your colleagues give out gift cards. Some give out a percentage of their fee. I'm not going to tell you which is right or wrong. It's really just up to you. And you can have a conversation by just saying, I really appreciate your advocacy. Is there something what do you particularly love? Do you have any hobbies you love? And then listening to that and doing some little intel, having a conversation. But I think handwritten notes are important to me and doing a great job.
Go ahead, Evie.
I had the pleasure of being in Lois Creamer's membership for 1 year. And like I wrote in there, I just want to make sure people know, and she didn't know I was going to say this, she didn't ask me, that just like you saw here, her authentic, genuine, practical advice based on experience is what she shares, and it's what makes your business grow. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Very nice.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Lois, how should someone contact you to connect with you and ask any follow-up questions from today?
I suggest that you either go to my website, bookmorebusiness.com. You will see my phone number, my email there, or just email me, Lois@bookmorebusiness.com. And if I have an answer for you, I'm happy to give it to you. If I don't, maybe I can suggest someone who can answer it for you. Thanks, Marty. This has been so much fun. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. We are so honored to have you with us. And thank you again for being that catalyst that helped to start Speakers Speak Live originally. We are